Welcome back to The Last of Us, Part 11, yay,
Did
channel.
we end in this building in the last part? They're all becoming a blur to me.
So, okay, so to recap, remember...
Pedro, are you saying we skipped like 8 games? Sorry, 9 games, sorry.
Sorry, I keep forgetting that this is Part 2, not 2. Because Neil thinks he's Coppola now. Yeah, to recap, remember, the woman we're looking for, Lee, who should be able to give us some info on Abby, is somewhere in this TV station, so let's see if we can find her.
Goody.
Channel 13, okay.
Sure would be a shame if she's not even there.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it, Jova? It would be a shame now, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be almost as much a shame as it's coming here for nothing, but nah, they would never pad out the story like that.
Clearly.
I mean, come on, we're in good hands here. Like, this is Naughty Dog.
In the meantime, we talked about the Seraphites earlier. There's an example. You're about to see those people out there in the background who were hanged. Yeah, that's the Seraphites. Who are the Seraphites? What do they do? Why did they do this? We'll save that for later.
Okay. Maybe it would have helped if we, the audience, knew more about these groups or whatnot, but we don't, so...
Well, Java, to be fair, we're gonna learn it. We're gonna learn it eventually. To be fair, it's just that.
Oh, I get it, but it's kind of like, you know, them hinting at that party thing that we won't get until much later into the game. Here, it's kind of like the problem with Final Fantasy 13, bringing up story plot points that the audience have no way of knowing until much later, to the point where it feels so weird. Like, I get doing it gradually, but this game does it pretty badly to the point where you kind of forget that some of these elements were a thing. Now, granted, with the Seraphites, they do technically factor into the story later on, but, you know, the Seraphites aren't really that, they're not really that
they're just there
significant.
They're just there for us, for the characters to have someone to be they're just there to be bad guys to be mocked, basically. That's the basic.
Don't get me wrong. Yes, you could argue maybe that's some world building, but it's done so bare bones that I sometimes even forget the Seraphites were even a thing in this game. Honestly. Okay, long story short, there's a war going on between factions. There you go.
That should tide you over for when we get back to when we get to the second half of the game. For now, let's see if we can find this bloody woman. She should be around here somewhere.
You know, if she supposedly is hidden there, why are there so many people who know her location still?
You know, it's actually kind of funny because you know, in this game Laura Bailey plays an absolute psychopath.
Yeah.
And someone who has very little morality in her, and yet today I got an anime that she was the complete opposite of that.
Oh.
It's called Fruits Basket, specifically the 2019 version.
Fruits Baskets, I've heard of that. What's it about?
It's about this high school girl who meets this weird family where every time she touches them, they turn into animals.
Interesting.
There was a version. Well, I got it on Blu-ray.
The original anime was incomplete.
Interesting.
There was this version released in the early 2000s. And it was actually one of Laura Bailey's first starring roles in anything.
Interesting.
No, people didn't like it because it was incomplete.
Yeah. And so they made this new one which they made after the manga finished, and they actually managed to get back all the cast, including Laura Bailey, motivation at that point.
80 bronze, 60 bronze. Kimi Mela Green, that's her name. After her family lost their house to greedy developers, young scientist Kimi Mela Green's public protests fell on deaf ears. Frustrated, she turned her research into animal behavior into a means of political action. Many late nights in the lab culminated in a device that allows her to telepathically communicate with animals. Now, as a member of the Society of Champions, Kimimela brings her animal allies to places around the world where civil strife and avarice threaten to force people from their homes. And when evildoers don't listen to her, she lets her animals do the talking.
Okay, that first half of it, is that how Neil Druckmann sees the development of this game?
Maybe. So, okay, so basically the original anime Fruits Basket, so what, did they basically do what the first Full Metal Alchemist anime did? They came up with their own ending for it?
No, the manga was already complete when the anime was in production, I believe. The problem is they didn't finish it for some reason.
I'm trying to think, Jova.
Apparently the manga created wasn't too happy.
Right, because I didn't watch the anime, but I did read the manga. I need to watch the new one.
I'm trying to think, Jova, like, is Kinimela inspired by any particular superhero that I'm not really remembering right now? I don't remember.
Oh, there are plenty of heroes who can talk to animals and have them do their own thing.
True, but her backstory specifically, does it remind you of anybody else's backstory?
The whole getting forced from their home by developers?
I don't know, I'm just trying to think of...
I've seen... yeah. I've seen quite a lot of heroes who have that too. I wouldn't really say it's any one hero in particular.
I guess, sure. No, I mean, that's you got power to right now. Showing what happened to the coast wasn't the one and all. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So there you go, Shiori, a super heroine that can telepathically communicate with animals, and apparently the animals are just because she tells them to kill people, they will. So
how civilized. So
I guess the animals are all like, well, okay, food. Sure, might as well. Okay,
so
but
Pedro,
well, actually, no, there's gonna be a cutscene in a moment, though. So hold on. Well, shit.
Wah,
wah.
Well, what's left of her?
Yeah, much like this game.
Leah again.
Exactly, Dwips. Thank you. Very good.
Like, okay, I get the joke. The universe must have really wanted her dead, but why do you say that? Like, yes, it's a crapsack world, but what insisted that the universe was out to get her?
The Seraphites. Remember, the Seraphites were here, and they're the ones who killed her. Remember?
No, I get that, but I mean, but what's the joke? The universe really wanted her dead. Like, that implies that Lee was going through a hell of a lot of stuff there.
I don't even know. Who cares? But guess what? She had these photos. But look at that. She has photographs. There's Manny. And there's Abby.
Basically, it's our list of people who were all conveniently, these are the list of people who were directly involved with Joel's murder. That's so what, was she just keeping that in a specially marked drawer or something? Like,
apparently, I don't quite know.
That's incredibly lucky.
And okay, and look at that. The wall, a bunch of wolves also came in. Oh, sorry, never mind. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. Well, that means this entire track to the TV station was just a waste of my time. Okay, let's move on.
The pictures that remind, but Pedro, now we know the names of the people who killed Joel. So
because that's gonna help. Because that's gonna help us, right?
We know their first names. They'll be totally easy to track down now.
Well, remember, Jova, this game already established that people in this game already assume who someone is just because of a first name. They don't even ask for the last name. So
going up of the mentality.
For all she knew, she could have killed
a different Joel.
Joel Bakersfield or something.
Hell, not only that, couldn't they technically be using fake names? Like, if I recall correctly, that was a thing in the first Last of Us. Like, I think Joel.
I mean, if she had a picture of him, then maybe. Yeah.
No, not that the game tells us. No. So yeah, guys. Turns out coming here was a waste of time. So
now we've got to fight our way out, which wastes even more of our time.
But
now we have to go up against Seraphites now.
You know, Shiroi, I'm starting to think I'm starting to realize what Neil meant by no, not fun, because this is starting to get annoying. How I'm literally not moving forward or progressing in any way, shape, or form. I'm literally.
It's been a while since we've actually had any main story content. It's.
But Shiroi, we had that thing. But Shiroi, we had that scene where we were, we fell into a trap, and we had to kill all those guys. See, that was main story. That was main story, wasn't it?
This is technically main story also, and it's still shit.
I think I've recognized another thing this game's missing. A certain pattern. In the original Last of Us, whenever a new concept was introduced, we had at least one character who knew enough so that they could at least exposit, albeit naturally, about the situation. They would warn us, okay, some of these people have resorted to cannibalism, and that was all we really needed to know. Here, we have a whole war going on between factions that the characters don't really know that much about, and just leaves us as confused as they are, which is not always a good writing tactic to have. Like, why should we care about this? And apparently now there's this bunch of people who I assume are the Seraphites because they talk about cutting them down and yeah, they call out their names, so I guess they're talking to the people who are hung or whatnot. Again, it's so loose and whatnot. And yeah, technically we'll get an explanation, but that won't be until way later into the game. And at that point, there won't really be much point in caring. Like,
No,
I only
not
care.
Dana.
Exactly. Oops. See.
I only care about.
You see how funny it is. It's flat out comical how they constantly do this. No, John.
Okay, look. I could get maybe them having a slow knee or something, or reaching down to try and see if the person's actually dead or whatnot. But outright screaming the name when, mind you, these guys are in the middle of a war, so for all they know, there could be a sniper literally hiding in the distance, waiting to pick them off one by one. Like,
thanks for being a moron, dude.
Pretty much.
Goodbye.
One thing that's also a problem.
Yeah, the way you say that makes it sound like it's like saying you are the weakest link.
Goodbye.
You want to know that's another problem? A lot of these NPCs don't look that visually different. Hell, some of them have to look the same. That's one of the limitations.
That's the thing, Jova. It becomes even worse when we start fighting the Seraphites. All the Seraphite women who look the exact same. They all have the exact same haircut.
Not only that, you just passed by two guys who were wearing the same hats and had the same face. You literally killed two guys with the same look, and yet they all have special names to try and get us to care about them. Again.
I'm starting to feel, I'm starting to feel like Neil Druckmann played Fairf and Seraph, and he thought, wasting the player's time and reusing assets ad nauseum. I wasn't aware that this was a tactic that I could use. So he decided to try it out with this game.
I think they're onto something.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want us to care about Mooks, maybe try not to have them look like clones of each other every now and then, because
Exactly. It's like I mentioned earlier. GoldenEye Rogue Agent had this issue with you randomly naming them Mooks. Although as you also established, you were playing a bad guy in that game, so it made more sense.
Yeah,
it was still incredibly tacky, but still, I mean, a PS2 game from 2004 does that stuff better than this.
Shiroi, Colin died.
No!
Wait, what was that, Pedro? Because
it's Laura! There you go, Shiroi. It's Laura. She's fucking dead. Laura's fucking dead, Shiroi.
I can't believe Laura is fucking dead.
Exactly. You see what I mean? This is flat out comical.
Question, guys, who was he even talking to? Because all his other members are dead, so who is
He's
he
just
yelling
giving away
to?
his location.
Oh my god. Okay,
Ladies and gentlemen.
My god.
Ladies and gentlemen, The dark, gritty, and edgy Last of Us Part 2 has reduced 3 members of this commentary group to hyenas.
That's the thing, though. It's like, well, they try to make us take this seriously, but it's just laughable at this point.
But Wibbs, don't you see? Look at Laura. She's fucking dead, Wibbs. She's fucking dead.
Laura's dead, Dana's dead, Charlie's dead, Daniel's dead. Maria's dead.
Sam, no!
You forgot about Bob, the most tragic death of all.
Oh god, yeah. That was very sad when Bob died.
This is like the worst part of the game for me.
Oh no!
I don't know, Shira. This is the funniest part of the game to me, to be honest.
Oh, that was sarcasm.
Oh no! Beverly, my tax accountant! No! My landlord! No!
No, Joe, remember, you have to say her name.
No!
Remember,
Landlord?
No.
Okay, that's not so bad. You can
No,
kill him.
I got one. Billy the postman. No.
remember, Joe, the death is only tragic if you mention his or her name, remember? You have to mention his or her name.
I mean, it's not like we can have tragedy in silence or anything. No. We gotta yell it to the highest of heaven.
In fact, TV Tropes has a little segment on that as well, which I will now read.
Go on.
And Malicious, the game's anti-revenge/violence message, and the way it portrays that message, such as enemies crying out the names of their comrades, has led to debate if the game needed to be heavy-handed and unrelenting, or is shallow and emotionally manipulative. Comparisons,
Both.
positive or otherwise, to Spec Ops: The Line, Nier and Nier Automata, MGS, Undertale, and Lisa were common in the months leading up to and after the release of the game.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah, that's because basically you know how Naughty Dog lied in the trailers about Joel being more involved in the story. According to Neil, that move was inspired by Metal Gear Solid 2's marketing. Again, you know what's the sad? You know what's the, you know what's
Charlotte! No! They killed Charlotte!
No, Charlotte, no.
She was the beautifulest talking spider ever! Oh wait, no, I'm supposed to care about Charlotte the soldier? Screw that, I care more about the spider who
I care more
died.
about the dead spider also, I'm not gonna lie.
Jova, spoilers, I haven't seen Charlotte's Web.
Okay, Charlotte's Web is one of the oldest tales ever, so you'll forgive me for not knowing that you didn't know that.
Sorry anyway, but yeah.
Sorry about that, though.
There you go, headshot.
But yeah, seriously though, guys, Charlotte is dead!
Exactly.
And I don't care!
But yeah, like I was saying,
It reminds me, it's like that random elf guy dying in the middle of Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. The only time he gets a name is just before he gets killed.
Yeah. Again, I'll keep this short. Neil, Metal Gear Solid 2 is about deception. Therefore, deceiving the audience, kind of like how Spider-Man Far From Home also was about deception, deceived the audience when it came to mysterious alignment. Again, that whereas not to mention, here's another big difference, Neil. Raiden didn't kill Snake. Just saying. Yeah.
And here we keep going with them calling out these faction names, and I don't care because I don't know about this war that's going on. I get why
don't you care about Charlotte, Jova? You're a monster. How can you? It's a human being, Jova, and she's dead.
You know what's sad? I can't even tell if these guys are even affiliated with the WLF or if they're part of a war. That's all we know. They were
WLF. We know.
Anyway.
They're WLF. We know that because they called this. Because
I'm gonna buy and play Lisa after this just to feel something.
When they found the bodies that were hanged, they called them. It was the Scars. Scars is the nickname that the WLF has for the server fight, so we know they're WLF.
Oh, okay. Well, again, that's something that the player won't know yet because, as far as the player knows, Seraphites are Seraphites, so maybe Scars might be another faction. Again, it's like the beginning of Final Fantasy XIII. Don't try and spout all these different factions and topics and whatnot without explaining them and expect the players to be invested or care.
I hear you, Jova. I really do. But what about Laura, goddammit? What about Laura?
It's almost as sad as Charlotte or Bob. Well, Bob's still the most.
I mean, what next? In The Last of Us Part 3, every time we step on like a bug or somebody, the bugs cry out the name of their dead person who we squished.
All right, we're about
not Michael McFour-Eyes.
All right, we're actually about to get introduced to a new type of infected.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Planet.
Infected. They're a thing in this game.
No, Joe, but
Okay.
they're not human beings, Joe. So they're not worthy of our attention. Oh, actually, this is one of my favorite bits in the game, gameplay wise, actually, because it allows me to do something that I always like to do in the first game, and this is a really cool thing. Basically, the WOF are looking out for me. However, there's infected there, like we just saw. So what I like doing here is I use this bottle here. I throw it right next to them, and this will, and there you go. There you
They
go.
got Mike and Jordan, as they point out.
Yeah. Then the noise that I just did with a little bottle now will attract the infected towards them. So there you go. There you go. Kill yourself.
Yeah.
Kill yourselves, you morons. Well, I just wait here.
Not gonna lie, those were always some of the more fun moments where you can literally turn enemies on one another like that.
There you go. Now I can just wait while the infected kill them.
Wow! Seriously, didn't you guys train for this? Why are you running around like idiots?
Oh no! They got Steve! No!
Well, joke's on them. It's not our fault this time.
Guys, I have I was rummaging through the wreck, and I found this list. This is a list of all the people that Ellie has killed on her journeys. They're so important. They thought they needed to write their names down. The worst thing was,
what?
There was this one guy I heard of. His name was Mike. That's it. That's the only reason I should care, apparently.
It's not as bad as Jordan.
It's such a cheap trick. Like, seriously. I mean...
Writers, we get it. Everyone has lived a life. Yes, maybe if you look at things from a perspective, I'm sure that they were important. Here's the thing. Stories cannot afford to focus on every little character in something because, well, it just becomes a documentary and there is not nearly enough time in a plot to focus on every little bit in anything, really.
Alright.
Like, seriously. If you do realize that the moment you try and apply this logic to any other video game, you fail. Like, hey, why don't we try and tell the life story of every Mook in Crash Bandicoot? Or the life story of everyone who was roboticized into being a
What are you talking about, Jova? Clearly, what should have happened in Crash Bandicoot 1 is we should, when Dr. Cortex appears for the first time, the game should have flashed back to a couple years ago, so we can spend 10 hours playing as Dr. Cortex, so we can truly understand him and see where he's coming from. Don't you see?
Exactly.
Don't you see? But Shira, what about your what do you say for Crash Bandicoot 4? Maybe we could have a little 10-hour flashback section where we play as Cortex and we truly get his backstory and we truly understand who he is and why he's doing the things that he is, and we'll be able to understand him a lot better.
No, let's not.
Don't you see, Shira? It turns out Crash is the real bad guy for all the mooks he's killed along the way, trying to stop Cortex from taking over the world.
Of course.
You realize how wrong that sounds when
Jules,
you say
I hope you
that.
admitted I didn't find this. The two of us got into a minor dust-up with some clickers, but we're still one piece. Hold up for here for the night to click our wounds. The long dead body of a man watched over us, a gruesome reminder of why we're doing this. The infection, it really was a warning. Better live off the land than remain in this rotting mess. Zachary says if we keep heading north, we'll hit the Seraphite encampment in the next couple days. He calls it Haven, and they built it all themselves. Hearing it talk about it, it was hard not to get inspired, even optimistic. I pray for your safety. I hate to think of what Isaac would do if his goons catch you. I'll be holding my breath, waiting for a sign that Isaac is the leader of the WLF. We'll meet him later. His character will turn out to be a whole lot of nothing, but yeah, he exists.
Well, hey, these Seraphites, though, they apparently have a new haven. Does this mean that maybe they're the good guys?
Okay, you know what's interesting, Jova? Well, actually, or not. I can't say it because of spoilers, but I'll tell you after commentary when everybody else is gone. Because now that I think about it, I'm totally making that joke when we get to that bit. But whatever. Those of you who knows what happens when Isaac is in the third act of this game, you guys probably know what I mean. But anyway,
like I said, he's got a special "what an idiot" moment that TV tropes themselves
carved
out.
Well, everybody in this game has one or more. So
yeah, but like his is quite a big headliner moment. But there's plenty of other stupid things to pick apart in this game. Oh my God, they got Dylan.
Sure, they got Dylan.
It's like you could cut out the audio of all the times they yell out the ones they were making roll call. It's Dylan here, Owen here, Sarah here.
I mean, maybe to somebody it felt like it would be tear-jerking, but again, you don't get to know these characters. Hell, Undertale, you literally do get to know every Mook you go and battle against. Sure, those encounters may be small and few, but with the actions and acts and whatnot, you can interact with them to varying extents. So you actually do get to literally know every character in that game. Well, except for Gaster, but he's kind of out of focus.
Oh, never mind. We're only meeting the Shamblers in the next part. Alright, so another ladder to cross here. So let's use this conveniently placed rope to...
So let's do a bit of a recap. We went here to kill Abby. What we instead did was get caught by the WLF, finding out Abby's not even here, and now we're caught in the middle of a war that we know little to nothing about, with a faction that we kind of really don't know much about, which the story is obviously saving for later, but constantly throws stuff at us about, even though we have no real reason to care.
And
that's great storytelling, isn't it?
That's our recap for today by Jova. I hope you enjoyed it, everybody. Tune in next time, where we will officially meet the new kind of infected, the Shamblers.
See you then.
See ya.